if you want to watch a movie that's kind of got a bit of a twist at the end and kind of maybe leaves you a little bit wondering exactly how the ending was meant to be, I would recommend Silent Light. Ordinarily, I don't recommend movies that are in a foreign language. I myself kind of find it a little bit difficult to follow subtitles when there's a lot of rapid dialogue going along. But in this particular movie, it actually wasn't a problem. The movie is quite slow paced. If you want a fast action movie, this is not a movie I'd recommend. But it's dialogue that's fairly easy to follow. They don't speak very rapidly. I'm not sure what language it's in. A couple little parts and pieces of it I think might have been in Spanish, and I do know some Spanish, so I recognize that. The rest of it, I think it was in some sort of Germanic language. I'm not really sure. But in any event, the overall theme of the movie deals with a man who was unfaithful to his wife. I think he might have been Amish. It kind of looked like it, but it was never made completely clear that that's what they were. They kind of acted like that in general. The wife kind of knew about the affair, and the man had confided in his father about the affair also, and his father was kind of the opinion that he needed to, or he should stay married to his wife and be faithful to her, but he wasn't exactly like screaming at his son, don't do it. It was just more or less kind of a subdued reaction. And one thing you'll notice throughout the movie, if you watch it, a lot of it is very subdued. There's not a lot of high level drama that you'd expect to see if there was if it was American movie. They're definitely a little bit different style for that type of movie. But anyway, the interesting thing about it is that after they had been having the affair for a while, his wife, although she knew about it, she was getting kind of more upset as he was seeing her more and more. And at one point, as they were driving out to see her again, and she was actually with him, they were driving down the road, rainy as hell outside. She's really upset. She tells him that she's kind of sick and wants him to pull over to the side of the road. So he does. She gets out of the car, and mind you, it's raining just cats and dogs. So she gets out, kind of runs away from the car a little bit, goes by a tree, is crying, and then after a while, it shows a husband sitting in the car waiting for her, and she doesn't come back, so he goes out and looks for her to see if he can find her. He finally sees her, and she's basically not moving, so he carries her back to the car. You're sort of wondering if she'd passed out or what happened to her. Anyway, next scene, they show him at a doctor, and the doctor's basically telling him that she passed away. It's some kind of coronary problem or something like that, and he just told him that these things sometimes happen, and it kind of left me a little bit in wonderment because, these people in the movie look like they were probably in their late 30s, early 40s, somewhere in there. They had young children, and I think that's a little young for her to pass away, but maybe extreme grief. I don't know. I didn't really know what to make of that. But anyway, they had this sort of funeral for her, and it's unusual. This is in a different country, so obviously their customs are going to be a little bit different. They have her on some kind of bed with a bunch of sheets put over her. They had showed some of the people, cleaning up her body and doing different things to her, cutting her nails and so forth. And there was a bunch of family and friends that were at the house where she was, where her body was, and some people were going in to see the body. And at one point the mistress shows up. So the husband goes outside, and he's talking with her, and she asks if she can see the body. So kind of somewhat reluctantly, he says yes. She can go in and say her goodbyes to her. And these two women obviously did know each other. So anyway, she goes in and she looks at her, and then, very strange, she actually kisses her on the lips. And I, here again, don't know what to make of that. This is a foreign movie, so they do things a little bit differently, I guess. But anyway, the woman wakes up. And I'm thinking to myself, well, is a woman actually, was she supposed to actually be dead? Was this mistress imagining it? Then of course she goes out and has it, and the child tells the one of her children to come in because the woman had asked to speak with one of her children. So the child comes in, speaks with her mother, and then the child goes back out and tells dad, "Hey, mom wants to talk with you." He doesn't seem like he believes her at first, but he eventually goes in and he's talking to her too. And I'm seeing all this and kind of wondering, okay, well, maybe this is not just someone imagining it, but it's sort of weird because it's like I'm thinking, okay, if this woman didn't die, these people are just they're still acting subdued. There wasn't like a huge amount of excitement, and they're not rushing her off to hospital. You'd think if the woman was actually alive, you'd say, okay, well, guess the coroner made a mistake, but better get her to hospital right away, and that didn't happen either. And then the scene sort of fades, and then it sort of slowly moves over to another scene. It shows the outside of the house, I guess outside the room that she was laying in, and shows a moth flying out of the window. I don't know if that was supposed to signify anything. My wife seemed to think that was maybe going to signify the departure of her spirit or something like that. I really don't know, but I couldn't figure out if the woman was actually supposed to have been alive or if she was just something this was imagined. It was one of those kind of mystery type endings, and you have to watch it for yourself and draw your own conclusions. And if you have an idea of what you think happened, leave in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much.